Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gary Martin. Today, I'm joined with a friend and the captain of Huddersfield Golf Club, Andrew, and we're doing a video today because it all started with a conversation about your gloves wearing out, didn't it?
Yep, I asked Gary a simple question about why are the gloves, my glove, wearing out on the palm of my hand, and I thought it would be a simple conversation about the fact your glove's not right or whatever, and then Gary started talking about the thickness of the grips on my clubs, so that's the job today.
So what we did I asked Andrew what sort of size grips we use on his clubs, and he used his standard grips, and I could see without even measuring Andrew's hands, he weren't a standard hand size. You've got quite big hands, ain't you?
Yeah, big hands.
So there's obviously, I think you're using the wrong grip. We've measured Andrew's hands, and he's actually measuring at mid-size. So what we're going to do, we're going to test your standard grips, a mid-size grip, and a jumbo grip, and we're going to explain to these guys, how to choose the right size grip. It's not just based on feel. There's a little bit to do with ball flight as well, which you can help explain, because this were a conversation Andrew's already had with Alex, who's teaching him, and for one reason or another you decided to stick with standard, didn't you? Which, in my professional opinion, were the right decision. Yeah. So that's what we're going to try and explain to you guys on how to choose the right size of grip. So we're up in swing room here at Huddersfield Golf Club, which we will be getting a new GC2 quad next week, so we're really looking forward to that. We'll also be replacing this mat here and getting rid of this James Robinson rubbish for start of a new season. But we're up in studio, and I just want to sort of, tell subscribers a little bit why you've been put off by going into a mid-size grip. What put you off?
The reason why Alex has never looked to change the size of the grip is because my bad shot's always been a high fade. Yeah. And I'm told that if you have a thicker grip, you're more likely to fade the ball than you are to do anything else.
And that's completely right, and I'll use like Bubba Watson as an example. A golfer who likes to fade the ball. You'll notice if you've seen his clubs, he's got really big grips, and we've also got Bryson, haven't we? Bryson likes to fade the ball. Again, really thick grips, and that's to help hold off that release. But for someone like Andrew, who already had a fade, putting him in a bit thicker grip at the time would have been, it would have actually made your bad shot worse. So Alex, Andrew's coach, has really sort of held back from doing that, haven't you? But you've actually improved your ball flight now, and it's pretty straight.
Yeah, I think the majority of the time it's straight, and my bad ones tend to be a bit of a pull now.
A bit of a pull. So I mean, this would be absolutely perfect then to try and stop you closing that face. So that's what we're here for today. We're going to test this on the launch monitor. We're going to get Andrew in his standard grip to have a look at your ball flight, and then we're going to see what actually happens when we start to put you in a thicker grip. We've got a mid-size grip and we've got a jumbo grip, and you've not actually felt these yet, have you?
No.
So we're going to get Andrew's, real reactions, how they feel, and actually see what his ball flight's like, and see what it does to his ball flight. Will it make him start to fade the ball again? Because if it does, then we've got a decision to make, haven't we? It's either, we play with a fade, or we just go through loads of golf gloves and hit it straight.
Probably cheaper to go through golf clubs.
So we're going to have a look at this, guys, and we'll bring you the results. So what's your first impression then to mid-size grip? How does that feel in your hands?
It doesn't feel that much bigger.
Really?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't feel a lot different. I think if I got my 9 and just put them together and.
How about then how your fingers meet? Because with Andrew's 9-iron, we were just having this discussion off camera. Your fingers actually dig in a little bit, don't they?
They are just they're touching, which is what we talked about, rather than leaving an indentation.
If you want to pick your clubs up at home and test that, guys, your fingers should meet together. They should touch, but they shouldn't be like pressing into each other, and digging in, because that means you're having to grip with too much pressure. So, although it don't feel that much different, it's probably doing a good job here, and being more secure in your hands.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can definitely tell it's bigger, but it doesn't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll see how I hit it.
Yeah. Well, it sounded good. You can just tell when you get a good shot sound-wise.
Yeah, that was a nice one, that one.
It sounded really nice. Oh, that were a great strike. Well done. And although it's gone a little bit right, the way you've got to look at that is with a thinner grip, it would have gone even more right.
Yeah.
You know, so this is only going to help you really minimise that shot. We're going to go up to the jumbo grip now. Now this will be, you know, it's not what Andrew's hands measure, but like I've said on this channel before, it's only a guide. When you look at these fitting shots, they are only a guide. You know, look at Bubba Watson and Bryson. They don't measure. I mean, they're grips like baseball grips. They're huge, but they're using them for a purpose.
So
jumbo then.
Just probably, I think it feels probably like the difference between the 9 iron and the 7 iron.
Yeah.
The 8 iron just feels a little bit thicker than the 7 iron, but it still doesn't. You know, they're still touching.
Yeah.
They're still touching, so it doesn't feel, again, massively different.
Yeah.
But there is obviously a difference there. So it is degrees really. It's not like night and day.
Yeah. That's a surprise, that, to me, you know, from going from a standard to a jumbo, that, you know, a good player like yourself, single-figure handicapper, feels dead comfortable that you can just, you know, hit some balls with that and it's not going to hinder you.
Yeah, and if I actually feel, that feels really skinny now.
Yeah.
It feels really skinny
That's an
compared
interesting point, because that's the, obviously, club that you would have been comfortable with until you came today, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You'd have thought,
It just
there's
feels,
nothing wrong with that.
feels very skinny now.
And I think you have been using grips that are too thin. And
Well, we'll see with this one, because this is my favourite club. So this is
Yeah.
what I warm up with. I start with, whenever I come and practice, I always start with the 8 iron. So we'll see.
Well, let's test it. There's no right and wrong answer here, guys. You know, we're just bringing you to the results of what we're getting. It does measure, you know, slightly, that it measures that it's too thick, or if we're looking at the size chart, it's saying it's too thick. But the proof's in obviously how you feel and how you hit it. I think what we need to do before we finish this test is get you hitting some with your standard grip again.
Yeah.
To see how that feels now after using grips that are thicker.
I agree.
Because obviously the thinner grip, you know, measures undersize, and there's movement in there which is causing Andrew, you know, problems with wearing gloves through. I guess it might feel uncomfortable going back to that grip after this.
You might be right. We'll see. Last one.
A little bit of a pull.
Right, back to the skinny grip.
Back to the 9 iron, yeah. Let's see how this feels now you've, you know, tried thicker grips. And then we'll see if you have a preference and feel. Can you feel any extra movement in your hands to what the thicker, and just be honest with us, you know, does it feel secure? Does the any feel?
Just feels like I'm having to just maybe apply a little bit more pressure.
Pressure.
Yeah.
And that is a great thing to say, because that's what it is.
I almost feel, and I probably haven't thought about it before, but when I practice and, you know, I might hit 80 balls, then I get a bit of, not cramp, but you know, you can feel that you've been gripping the club.
Yeah.
And obviously that's really not what you're supposed to do.
And if we relate this to putter grips, that's why a lot of people are having success with these big fat putter grips, because it's reducing the amount of pressure they need to put in the hands. And you'll have noticed this, guys, if you're using thicker grips on your putters, you don't have to hold it as tight, and it makes you become a little bit more shoulder control and gives you more feel. And
well, as you know, I have got a thicker grip.
Yeah.
And I putt really well with it. So
yeah.
And I've got that old ping that you re-gripped, and that's got a standard size grip, and I find that I would find that really difficult.
Yeah.
To hit, but I do feel I'm just having to probably grip a little bit tighter with those 3 fingers.
Yeah.
Just to try and keep everything where I want it to be.
So, just to come to sort of some conclusion on this, having tried all grips now, you know, we'll have a look at the ball flight data, but on feel, if I said to you, right, Andrew, I'm going to re-grip your clubs today, it's going to cost you £150, which grip would you have the confidence of buying?
I think I'd probably go for the mid one.
Mid-size?
Yeah, I think the mid, it's a real difficult one actually, because they don't feel that much different.
No.
And, you know, I don't know what be able to tell
Yeah.
me what the difference, you know, in grip size is in between a mid and a jumbo, but they don't feel that much different. So I could probably play with both, but I suppose if I was being a sensible person, I'd probably go for the mid, because that's sort of between the three, if you like.
And that's what was suggested when we measured your hands as well. So we're going to have a look at the ball flight data, which will help me make a bit more of a calculated decision. But, you know, this is the dilemma you have, isn't it? When you're going to change grip size, it's a big commitment. It's £150. If you get it wrong, you know, it's a waste of money.
Yeah.
So that's why we've come up here today, to do a little bit of testing, actually give Andrew the confidence that if he is going to change grip size, that he's committed to it, and he's not worried that, you know, it's going to be a waste of money. So we're going to just have a look at this data, and then we'll be able to make a little bit more of a calculated decision. So now we've had a look at the ball flight data, and I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. Andrew's bad shot that he misses to the right is actually coming from, it's a pull, so you're swinging from the outside and in. So you're swinging out to in, but then your club face, even with a standard grip, is slightly open. So it's not that your club face is closed and making you hook the ball. You're actually starting the ball left, and then it's flying pretty straight, which is, you know, what we call a pull. And with your 9-iron with a standard grip, I'll just pull that data up. Your club face is 1.1 degrees left. So your club face is actually slightly open. It's 1.1 degree open. Now, as we move into a thicker grip, and this is what we said we would expect, if we move up to 7-iron, it then becomes 2.9 degrees open. So that's meaning that obviously your ball flight's starting right, but it will help it fade back to target. When we move up to jumbo, this is where it could get dangerous, because if you work on your swing path with Alex and you get, you know, into square to in perfectly, then you could start to slice it. If you went up to the jumbo grip, which is on your 8-iron, it actually goes to 5.9 degrees right, and that's when it's going to start to get dangerous, because that's really making you hold that club face up. And you didn't feel it, did you? You said you couldn't feel any difference, but the numbers don't lie. And now I've seen them numbers, I'd be very scared of putting you in anything thicker than a mid-size, because I think as you progress as a golfer, you know, you're a single-figure handicapper. If you start hitting it with a good path into square to in, then you would certainly start to lose that ball off to the left.
Right. Okay.
So I think, you know, mid-size is going to help you stop wearing your gloves through, but on the other hand, help you hit that ball straight, because your club face is only 2 degrees open. And even if you started to improve your swing plane, that would be a very minimal fade, which you could play with. But in the meantime, it's just going to help you, although the ball's starting right, it's going to help you fade it back to middle. So for me, mid-size is where we go from here.
Sounds good.
All right.
Understand.
So I hope you've enjoyed that, guys. You know, it's been a little bit more of an in-depth way of selecting a grip, and it's not anything that you can't do. I'm going to tag a video in there on how to re-grip your clubs from home. You know, all you need to do is, like we've done with Andrew today, is grip, you know, a couple of your irons with jumbo and mid-size, and then obviously test the three, the standard mid-size and jumbo. If you feel like you need a slightly thicker grip, before you commit to buying a full set of grips, you know, don't do it blind. Test your ball flights on the range and make sure you're comfortable before changing your grips. And thanks again. Thanks for your time. Not leave your engine. Cheers. We'll see you guys in a few days' time. Bye.